make sure it's quite firmly locked. The first stage is to run the V tool down this line and round the corner like this. So if it's softwood, you can just run it by hand like so. If it's a hardwood, then you probably need your mallet. Now as you do this, keep the V tool square on, so it's equal sides, both sides, and run round and try and feel this sort of curve, not straight lines like this, but feel that curve as it goes round. And you can do pretty much all the ones across the top first, as far as you can comfortably reach, like this. Then you'll rotate this a little bit here and pick up the cut and follow it down, trying to get that feel as it goes round. Now the width of this cut wants to be uniform, and that means that you've got a uniform depth. As for the depth, well, that's a little bit arbitrary, but the deeper you go, the more the rope is going to be pronounced. You might have to come back this way on one of the sides if it's tearing, but generally speaking you should be able to go like this all the way along. From the ends here, come in at the end like this, and when you come to the far end over here, stop short and reverse and come in here. If you come out this way, you'll burst off wood uncontrollably. So make sure the ends are into the mass of wood. So with that, you just have to quietly get into the groove and follow those lines. It's worth going around and checking these lines because everything builds on everything else. So if they're nice and clean, then the next stage is a bit more easy. So we just make sure those lines are nice and fluid as they go around. The groove, as it comes out at each end, wants to be equal, so everything is the same depth. It's interesting to see this little concave bit at each end. The reason why that's there, and it's very frequently there, is because it's quite difficult to run up against and clean off to a flat edge. So this little bit of space here enables you to finish off each spiral very neatly. Also notice that because this tapers, the spiral just geometrically are getting tighter as they get up to the top end. That's a really nice feature, I think. But it might mean that you want to make this end a little bit thicker to compensate for that, so it remains the same sort of sense of the rope as you go along. So when you've got that as far as that, the next thing to do is to start rounding this over. Now the grain of this carving here is in this direction. So with this groove, one side of the grain, one side of all the fibres is running in this direction, on this plane, but on the opposite side they're going in that direction. So one's with the grain, one's against. You'll soon find out which is which when you try to do this. So essentially you've got to do two halves separately. So we'll do this half first, and we'll go with the grain with a medium gouge. You want to make sure it's not going to dig into the other side of the top. So we take this down like this in little strokes, again following that the groove at the bottom, and just leaving a touch at the top here. So we want to come over and just skim the top. We don't want to dig into the top, or else we get different depths. So work all the way along one side, and then we'll turn round and we'll come the other side in this direction here. So you have to do it in two directions. So I finished one direction. I'm going to have to come round to the other side of the carving to come in this direction. It looks a bit chewed up here in the groove, but that will all be cleaned up eventually. So again, take care, make sure that's not too many facets as you go round, and then we'll work in this direction.